Well, a new bill right now is making its way through the Arizona legislature, which could actually result in some foreclosures being avoided. The bill was passed by the Senate just this past week, so it's headed for the House next. And if passed, Arizona may become the first state to require lenders to prove they have the right to foreclose. Joining us this morning is attorney Jonathan Frutkin to talk a little bit more about the implications of this proposed new law. Thanks for being here this morning, John.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's talk about this. This is something you were saying that banks should already be doing. They should already have to provide certain information, which they're not doing here in the state of Arizona.
They're not. Now remember, in Arizona, we're different than a lot of states. I mean, so your house could be foreclosed even if there's been no judge reviewing it. And so we have to have extra protections in order to protect those people before that foreclosure happens.
Okay.
For example, in this bill, they require that a list is given of all the different owners of the note that you signed to buy your house. It's obviously important that whoever's foreclosing is the one who actually owns it. And so it's really basic information that's going to be required under this Senate bill to be included in the foreclosure notice.
And this seems to stem from the bigger picture of the foreclosure crisis where there's been, I know, like Chase and Bank of America had put, some holds on some of their foreclosure properties, looking into all the background, looking for all the paperwork. This is all part of it, right? To just make sure the paperwork is correct.
It is, because as many people in Arizona know, getting a home loan modification is one of the hardest things that you can possibly do. And a lot of times the lenders will use the excuse, well, because of the person who actually owns this note, we can't modify your loan. This just requires them to take the extra step to make sure their ducks are in a row before they deny a loan modification and then take somebody's house.
For the homeowner who's facing foreclosure, is this any benefit to them at all?
Well, I mean, it is a benefit in the sense that at least there's some clarity that the person that you are dealing with is the actual owner of the note for the house. This prevents the kind of uncertainty of saying, is this the person who owns it or is that the person who owns it, and allows for some clarity as far as getting the home loan modified, and then ultimately if there is a foreclosure, at least we know that the company foreclosing is the one that actually owns the note.
Could this bill help folks get that home modification a little easier? Because right now, as you were saying, it is pretty tough and not a lot are being approved.
I mean, that's really the hope. The Chase, Citi, Bank of America, and Wells together have a profit that rivals the size of the budget of the state of Arizona. These are big companies, and everyone who tries to deal with them is rightfully pretty frustrated. And to kind of force them to go the extra mile to make sure everything's right before they take somebody's house and break up a community, I think is a reasonable step.
All right, we'll be watching it, as we said, just approved by the Senate this past week, now moves on to the House, but we know it has to go through all the Appropriations Committee, so that could take a while still, right?
Sure. It could take a little while, but it's kind of hopeful that the Senate passed it 28-2. So it's really something that would protect people in Arizona, and hopefully the House will act on it.
Thanks for shining some light on that, John. We sure appreciate your time this morning. Stay with us, folks. Much more still to come right here on Good Morning Arizona.